For my first journal check-in, I'm going to be going and expanding more on September 22nd, one we did before class, a time when reading structure supported or limited your learning. And for some reason, I really struggled with trying to write up an answer for this one. And normally, when we talk about a lot about like reading, there's the word I'm looking for, reading, I tend to be able to really talk about it because I tend to remember a lot about my reading experience, and my reading experience was, can be a lot quite different than other people in the classes reading experience, because having a learning disability, you comprehend and you read things differently. And for some reason, I had a really hard time trying to figure out my thoughts. And so I kind of sat and reflected on it for a week, and now I'm here doing the journal entry. And I kind of liked the point in Primal Reading Simplified, the 2 chapters where he talked about like effective discussions and all that stuff. And for me, I struggle really hard with comprehension. And no matter how I try to read, I'm always going to miss some part of the comprehension. A lot of times audio does really support my comprehension than me just reading in my head. And when working in whole group discussions, it can be a positive and a negative, because I can definitely feed off of people's input and put my own opinion on it. Where being in smaller groups, it's a lot harder to sometimes like fake it, I guess, or find something to talk about, because there's just that lack of people to fall back on, I guess. I've tried, and I definitely find it a lot more in university than I did in any other schooling I did, was with discussions, is definitely like the academic language I struggle a lot with. And I can look up those meanings. I can do everything in my toolbox, and sometimes it just flies right over my head, which is sometimes really upsetting, because I want to try my hardest when I'm trying to understand something for class, and my brain is choosing that's not the day. And then I also really liked his way where he kind of slowly started talking about reading lessons, and if you should do them in whole classrooms, small classrooms, if you wait for other people, all that kind of stuff. I kind of found that little chunk he talked about really interesting, because I did a lot of my reading lessons in small groups. I worked very closely with an LRT for most of my elementary school years, and it actually, like, I think made it easier for me and feel more comfortable using reading strategies in my life now, and when I was there, because a lot of times you're reading with kids who are at the same reading level as you, because I was normally I think I was normally about 2 to 3 reading levels behind my classmates. So it was nice to be able to be with kids who also struggled with reading, so it didn't feel so insecure. Like, I didn't feel so insecure being there. And then I did find really interesting about the readology. I can't say the word. I was sold out right here, and brain's not picking it up. But the part where it was like lack of interest in reading materials, and for me, I think that's really important, because I'm not sure. I don't know what they're called, if it's just like a part of my memory. But a lot of times they had like the reading books, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's like, or like it's either numbers or it was like letters, and it was like kind of like represent a reading level, and reading those, and they're normally like really simple books, but they would be like to try to see where you were at and all stuff. And sometimes those books were so boring, because they sometimes they were just so random topic, and I was like, grade 2 Michaela was like, screw this, I don't want to read this. And I think sometimes I would fight the fact of me wanting to read, because I was like, well, I don't like this topic, but everybody else likes this topic, so I guess I have to read it, but I'm like, I don't want to read it. And then even just like reading in class too, like, I didn't do it a lot in elementary school, I think, because I was with my LRT for a lot of time reading, but when I kind of started stepping back from my LRT, I got into middle school, and I started to notice that like there's not a lot of reading time in class, and like it was like, oh, you read for 5 minutes after the library to like resettle you guys, and to give the teacher like a few minutes to prep before class starts. Where it wasn't like, oh, let's read for enjoyment. We're reading because I need some time to like figure my stuff out as a teacher, which I get it. As someone who's now been in the classroom, I understand it. But at the same time, I was like, you're not reading. It's not purposeful reading. It's just to try to like make some time and like try to like grade or lesson plan and all stuff. So yeah, I feel talking through it, I definitely think I've expanded a little bit more than I would have done if I wrote it. So yeah, I feel good.